the show pretty much disappeared from trading currency because in the U.S. at the time I wrote the book, there were exactly 4 audio copies of that. And I complained about it in the Old Time Radio Digest and Internet Bulletin Board, which is a great place to air your complaints because people all over the world come in and solve your problems. And I immediately got an email from a guy in Germany. He said, well, we've got over half of the recordings here at the Marlene Dietrich Museum in Berlin, and what's more, they're starting to release them to the public here on CDs with a little bit of German narration to fill in. He said most of the Germans speak English almost as fluently as German, but some of them don't, so there's a little bit of that. And he said, I'll send you some. And 2 weeks later, here comes 2 CDs with 4 of her shows. And I'd like to play an excerpt from this because what they did is they had the original CBS discs, and then they just put a teensy bit of German overlay on them for German audiences to sell those CDs.
What year is this?
Yeah, 51. And the CDs started coming out about 4 years ago.
When you are near, the breezes sigh, time for love, time for love, the stars write words across the sky, time for love, time for love.
Time for Love.
Let's follow where our hearts may lead. The night will show us.
Eine Hörspielserie aus den 50er Jahren mit Marlene Dietrich.
Come close to me, and you will see the time for love is now.
Swimming Murder.
And now, Time for Love, transcribed on CBS Radio. Your star, Marlene Dietrich. Every week at this time, enjoy exciting romantic adventure at the star's address when it's time for love.
Our boyfriend is Bob Reddick, who was one of the last and the best Johnny Dollars.
Die berühmte Nachtclubsängerin Liliane Lavolta gastiert zurzeit in Nordafrika. Michael Victor, ihr Geliebter, ruft aus Paris an und bittet Diane, ihn am Morgen vom Flughafen abzuholen.
When are you coming, darling?
I'll be there in the morning.
Oh, Michael.
Can you meet me at the airport?
Oh, yes, yes.
I'll either be on the 917 or the 927.
I'll be waiting there.
How are they treating you at the club?
Oh, everybody has been wonderful to me.
Oh, they better be.
Oh, I have to go, darling. I have to sing in 5 minutes.
Oh, I wish I could go there to hear you sing.
Even if I didn't have to sing.
Follow where our hearts may lead. The night will show us how. Come close to me, and you will see the time for love is now.
Unter dem begeisterten Publikum im Nachtclub befindet sich auch Polizeileutnant Gilbert. Er lädt Diane zum Abendessen ein, doch Diane gibt ihm einen Korb.
Miss Lavolta?
Yes?
Me. I am Police Lieutenant Giro.
Oh, yes. I've seen you here at the club every night this week.
Here you see.
Thank you.
I am sorry your engagement ends tonight.
I'll be back in 6 weeks.
I shall reserve a table.
You're very kind, Lieutenant.
Will you be kind and have supper with me?
Well, thank you, but I really can't. No.
I shall be disappointed if you will.
I must. I have to be at the airport first thing in the morning.
You're not leaving.
No. I'm meeting someone.
I shall be there myself.
Then I may see you. Good night, Lieutenant. And thank you again.
And at the airport, there's a tremendous explosion blowing up an airplane, which takes her 20 minutes to solve that case. Among the other helpful people to me have been our convention coordinator here, the extraordinary Martin Grahams Jr., who is probably neck and neck with Jim Coxon, who gets the next OTR book out. At any rate, Martin was going through the papers of Phillips H. Lord, and he found something of interest to me because he'd found the script for Policewoman. Policewoman was a 15-minute show in the late 1940s starring Betty Gard, and I was amazed at the frugality of a radio show like that. Martin sent me the budget, and for each show they had budgeted $250. There were 3 leads in the show. Phillips Lord would only permit 2 other actors on each episode, 5 total. They were each paid $35 each for 2 hours of rehearsal and the 15-minute show. And that's the only expense. There was a minor royalty paid to Mary Sullivan, who wrote the original book for this back in 1938. But the sound man, the announcer, the organist, the director were all paid staff by ABC at no expense. So you could produce a prime-time 15-minute crime show for $250 a week. Now, there were 7 radio series that starred a husband and wife team, and until somebody else convinces me otherwise, I'm probably going to credit Dashiell Hammett with the creation of the first true crime-solving married couple, which he did in his 1934 novel, The Thin Man, Nick and Nora Charles. And Nick and Nora Charles were closely followed by Mr. and Mrs. North, which was the product of another married couple, Richard and Frances Lockridge, who maintained all their life that had nothing to do with the Thin Man. They weren't even familiar with the movies. They created this character entirely on their own. But the coincidences are rather astounding. For example, in Dashiell Hammett's Thin Man, Nick and Nora Charles were married, childless, wealthy, sexy, sophisticated, lived in a Manhattan apartment, loved parties, consumed a lot of alcohol, had late breakfast, usually a cocktail, never cooked a meal, moved about in posh social circles, and solved murder mysteries. So did the North. The difference being, of course, that Nick and Nora Charles appear only once in print and then achieve a great deal more success in the movies with William Powell and Myrna Loy, whereas the Lockridges went on to write another 40 novels starring Mr. and Mrs. North. Now, if you think that those coincidences are remarkable, there are far more in the next married couples who mirror each other. Frances Crane, who was an excellent mystery writer, and she created numerous characters, but her 3 most popular ones include the husband and wife team of the Abbotts. And in the Abbotts, Crane used the technique of making Jean the wife as the narrator of the show. So obviously nothing important could happen unless Jean was there, because she's relating the entire murder mystery in the first person.